Okay, so we're going to start with some just definitions. This is the boring stuff. Really, what you need to remember or just focus on is the diagram, like what it looks like, and then how to like write it. So, like if you're given a picture, how to like write a point or write a line or write a segment. Okay, so a point is just a location. It's a point on a graph. It's a point on a chart. It's a point on a map. In your, I don't know, a diagram, this is pretty silly. Okay, it'd be just like a point, like dot with a capitalized letter. And that's really what your symbol is. So if you're like reading a problem and you see like a capital letter, that means it's a point. Okay, so any capital letter, A, B, M, capitalized letters mean points. With a line just goes on in both directions. Okay, and then a line, obviously, line, but we have to have arrows on the end of it to say that it goes on in each direction. And then when you're using a line, you've got 2 points on it, and that's how we name it. So we'd say A, B, and the order doesn't matter. You can do B, A, and then just over the top of those 2 letters, you're going to draw a small line. A segment is just a part of a line or a piece of a line. This one will just stop at those endpoints. Okay, so it does not go on in both directions, just stops. This, if we're using the points that we have, we name it by the endpoints. Again, the order doesn't matter. So with this one, you could go DC. Then just over the top, you want to draw a segment. So no lines at the end of it. You could put dots on the end, I guess, if you wanted to. Array goes in one direction and has one endpoint. So it's kind of a line and a segment put together. Think of like a ray of sunshine. It starts at the sun and then I guess beams down in another direction. So a ray has an endpoint and then it goes off in another direction. Okay, so array, again, could have, you can have many points along here, but when you're naming array or a segment, segment you can do any order, okay, of the letters, but array, it does matter the order. So you always want to start with the endpoint and then pick another point on the array. So in this case, it's BA. Over the top, you draw a ray and that arrow needs to go over the point that it goes through. So this arrow goes over A, meaning that it's going through the A point. Okay, so order matters with the ray. And then the last like notation thing is an angle. It's measured in degrees. Okay, measured in degrees. It's the space between 2 segments or 2 rays. Looks like this. Usually named by 3 points. A, B, C. And when you're naming this, the order doesn't matter here except that the vertex point, the point that it bends, wherever it bends, has to be in the middle of your letters. So you could say A, B, C or C, B, A. So as long as B is in the middle, that's what's important. And this little mark here, that's just a symbol that means angle. No matter how big the angle is, that's kind of the size that you make that symbol. So as we get into talking about different types of angles, we're still gonna just mark it with that. Okay, that just means angle. Okay, 4 types of angles: acute, right, obtuse, and a straight angle. An acute angle measures between 0 and 90 degrees. So it's got to be bigger than 0, less than 90 degrees. So this could be an, whoops, this could be an angle like 89 degrees, or it could be as small as like 20, okay, just something little, okay, just between 0 and 90 degrees. There is no like notation here, so you can cross it off. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. That is usually marked in your picture. Either it'll say like, hey, this is 90 degrees, or it'll give you like a little box in the corner. So that box just means you see that and should know that it means 90 degrees. Sometimes you'll also see like perpendicular is like an upside down T. I don't know how often we'll see that, but just in case. Okay, so perpendicular just means two lines that meet at a right angle. Looks like an upside down T, so that's another way that you can know things are right angles. Obtuse is between 90 and 180, so anything bigger than 90, anything less than 180. So something like this, and this is what I was talking about before with like the angle measurement. So if I'm naming this angle, ABC, I'm still just naming it using the angle symbol, even though it looks acute. Okay, it doesn't matter the size, like that is just still how you mark an angle. And a straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. It seems silly, but it's just a line, okay? It's a half a circle, and that's why. There's really no symbol for that either, okay? So if I'm naming a line in this diagram here, so a line goes off in both directions, which would be this one right here. And we name that using the points, so we could say it's either AB with a line over the top or BA. A ray is the one that goes off only in one direction, and this one would have to be named AB, and the arrow is going to go over B because that's where it goes through. Okay, there is this other ray as well. This one would be named BA with the arrow going over A that time. And then the segment is that middle one. This could be named AB with a segment over the top, or BA, again with a segment over the top. Okay, so just a couple more examples here of naming. So I talked about this briefly up above, the vertex of an angle. So here's the angle measurement, okay? The vertex angle is just where it bends. So that vertex we'd say is just point X, so big capitalized letter. The sides of the angle are just the two pieces that extend out. So this would be ray XW with the arrow over the W, and XY with the arrow over Y. So we could name this three ways. You could just, since that's the only angle in the picture, you could just say angle X, name it by the vertex. You could name it using the 3 points. You could say angle WXY or YXW. Here's an example of why we can't always just name it by the vertex. So in this picture up above here, there's just one angle, right? It's just this little piece. But if I have an angle or a picture like this, I can't just name it by angle F, because you're like, well, what part is angle F? Is it the bottom part? Is it the top part? Is it the whole thing? So this would be a case where you really need the 3 letters to name the angle that you're talking about. So you need JFK or KFL or JFL. So one of those, you need those 3 points. So you couldn't just say angle F because there's a lot of them. Okay, I think you'd probably be okay here, but if we're drawing, I'm giving you the label here, asking you to draw it. That is a segment because it doesn't have arrows on each side. and you just plop down the endpoints, A and B. And it doesn't matter which direction you put those. Same thing with EF. I look at the symbol up above. That is a line. So I'm going to draw a line. Arrows on the end. Plop the points E and F down. The order does not matter. This one is a ray looking at the symbol up above. So I'm going to have one endpoint, goes off in the other direction. This time order does matter because it's going through X. So X is the one that I want to be having it continue to go through, and Y is going to be the endpoint. All right, name the intersection of AC and BE. So AC, sometimes it's nice if I just color this, AC and BE, the intersection would just be point B. Okay, just be where they meet. So we'd say point B. Name the intersection of BE and DF. Again, that would just be a point. That'd be point E. Name the intersection of AC and DF. Those two don't intersect, so you would just say none. Okay, so just notation, that's all I need to practice, so go ahead and stop and do part 1 of the Delta Math.